everyone, I'm Jamie Trull, your favorite financial literacy coach and CPA, and I'm here today to give you an update on the Employee Retention Tax Credit. Now, if you've been following along, you might know what this is, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of this tax credit and also some information on some of the changes that have occurred over time. And then we're going to talk about how exactly to claim this credit. And yes, you still can. As of right now, it is January 2022. You can still claim this credit. You still have a while to claim this credit unless they are to make changes, which is possible. So I recommend, if this is something that applies to you, that you want to go ahead and do this soon. So let's talk about first who can get an employee retention tax credit. Now, overall, the key to being able to get this credit and qualify for this credit is you have to have employees. You have to have had employees during 2020 or 2021. Those employees can't just have been family members or yourself, okay? So this is not for pay for you. This is for employees in your business that are unrelated to you. So if you don't have those, then you would not apply for this. However, if you did have employees in 2020 or 2021, then listen up. There are 3 ways that you can qualify for the Employee Retention Tax Credit. The first way to qualify is if you had a mandated shutdown. This is probably likely maybe in that early 2020 timeframe where you were mandated to be shut down by the government. Now, depending on how big of a company you are, that's going to impact the calculation of how much you can get. But in general, for 2020, you can get a maximum of $5,000 per employee with the ERTC, and that's for the full year of 2020. Okay, so you have to at least have been shut down, or you can also qualify for 2020 if your gross receipts, right, the total amount that came into your business for any quarter in 2020 was more than 50% down from the same quarter in 2019. So a decrease of more than 50%. Either you got shut down or your business was significantly impacted by the pandemic, then you are going to be able to get this credit for 2020. For 2021, the rules loosened up a little bit. Okay, so still you can get it if you were shut down or if you were down at least 20% for any quarter in 2021 versus 2019. Now in 2021, the great thing about it is they increased the amount that you can get. So not only is it easier to qualify for 2021 because it's only a 20% decline, but now you can get $7,000 per employee per quarter that you qualify, okay? Now you can qualify anytime between Q1, Q2, and Q3. They used to allow Q4. It had been extended last March to include Q4. And then back at the end of 2021, they actually reversed that. So in November of 2021, they said, never mind, we're not going to let you claim this for Q4 anymore. So you can still claim it for Q1, Q2, and Q3. So that means you can still get $21,000 per employee potentially, depending on what quarters you qualify for. So that is the great thing. And that is why you do not want to miss this. For a lot of companies, this is significantly bigger than PPP was. So even if you got PPP, there are some rules around making sure you don't double count, but you can still qualify for the Employee Retention Tax Credit. You don't want to leave this on the table. Okay, and we're going to talk about at the end of this how you actually are going to be able to get that. All right, but if you're confused, which I totally get, okay, I want you to make sure that you grab my ERTC calculator. That calculator is going to help walk through all these different requirements, figure out what quarters you actually qualify for, and help you estimate what that tax credit is. So if you go to jamietrull.com/ERTC, that's where you can grab this calculator. It is crazy popular, you guys. I've sold thousands of these at this point in time, and this is my absolute most popular spreadsheet. And we have gotten so many people giving us great feedback on this, people who have saved tens of thousands of dollars, people who have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, and my spreadsheet is $27. So I'm going to tell you, I know it for a fact, it is a great investment to make sure that you go ahead and grab one of these if you haven't already. We've been keeping it updated too. So as things, and if things change, we've been sending out new versions with those changes. We don't expect further changes to occur with ERTC since the time frame is now up. But if anything does change, or if they limit the time frame to actually claim these, you best be sure that I am going to give you an update if you are one of those people that has purchased the spreadsheet. Okay, so not only are we going to give you the spreadsheet, we're also going to give you all the updates that you need to make sure that you have all the information on this. So jamietrull.com/ERTC, go get it now. There is one more way you can qualify, and this is newer. This was something they passed back in March of 2021. So you can qualify as a recovery startup business. So this goes out to my businesses that are newer. Maybe you weren't in business back in 2019. Maybe you started a business during the pandemic and you are employing people in that business. If that's you, then I want you to listen up to this. If you launched your business after February 15th of 2020 and your annual gross sales are less than $1 million and you employ employees within your business that are more than just you or your relatives, you can be eligible for up to $50,000 of an ERTC credit. This is something a lot of companies are going to miss because they don't know that they are eligible for it. So again, if you are a new business, if you hired employees in that time, if you started your business after February 15th and you have been hiring employees, you may be able to get up to $50,000. So hopefully now you've already bought my spreadsheet. You are going to be doing some calculations on how much you could potentially get back from this. Okay, now how exactly do you claim this credit? Okay, this is not a credit that you claim on your year-end tax return. So that is something that is a common misconception. That's not where you're going to get this. This is actually a payroll tax credit. So now that we are sitting in 2022, that means you're going to have to go back and amend your previously filed 941. So those are your payroll reports that are filed usually by your payroll provider every quarter. Okay, you're going to do for each quarter that you qualify, you would create a 941X. Okay, now your payroll company can probably help you with this. An accountant is a really good person to be able to help with this as well to make sure the calculation is correct. Please do not rely solely on our calculation. All right, that is meant for illustrative purposes, but we do want you working with an accountant to make sure that you're thinking through all the small little details and that you're incorporating everything correctly and thinking about your PPP loan and any other COVID funds and treating that the right way, right? But ultimately, you're going to need to file those amended 941s in order to claim this credit. So the big question I'm getting right now is how long do I have to do this, right? How long can I issue these amended 941s? You may have a few of them to do if you qualify for several quarters. Then you may have a few amended 941s to do. If that is you, you're probably wondering how long do I have for this? And the good news is right now you have a while. The general terms are that you can amend a 941 for up to right around 3 years from when you originally filed it, okay? Now, that being said, I don't necessarily want people to sit around and wait because it is possible that Congress could come back and say, or the IRS could come back and say, actually, we are going to cut this off, we are out of funding, or some other reason, maybe they're going to move around the funding, right? You don't want to be that person who doesn't get it because you didn't file in time. So I am suggesting that people get on this pretty quickly to make sure that they are claiming this. Even better if you can do it ahead of filing your tax return for the year. It's not necessary, right? But it'll make things a little bit easier from a procedural standpoint if you go ahead and do that. Now, I do highly recommend to get moving. Now, one of the other questions that I get about this credit is how long is it going to take to get the credit back? And I will say it takes a hot minute. At this point, now we are in January of 2022. Most of the people who filed back in Q1 of last year have now gotten their credits back, and quite a few people that also filed in Q2 of last year. But as of right now, I have not heard of a ton of people that filed their 941Xs in Q3 or Q4 that have yet to get their ERTC credits. So know that it might take some time. I think it is starting to pick up a little bit. So the earlier you get them in, then you will get into that queue. So that's why I recommend to go ahead and do it. But even if you haven't heard for a while, or maybe you have already done it, go ahead down below in the comments and update people and tell them, hey, here's when I applied, here's when I got it, or I applied it this time and I haven't gotten it yet. But regardless, even money that takes a while to get is still money that you want to get, right? Even though it might be a little while before you get that tax credit, that's not something that you want to leave on the table. So I do recommend that you go ahead and claim it. Now, when you go to actually file this, I want to make sure that you are working with an accountant to check this, like I said. And so you can either work with your current accountant, you can come to them with the spreadsheet maybe, or check what your accountant is telling you. Or if you're not sure if your accountant really knows about this, make sure that it is an accountant that is well versed in the employee retention tax credit. There are a lot who are not, so make sure they feel comfortable in this arena. If you don't have an accountant who can help you, when you buy our spreadsheet, we will also give you a link to book a paid consult Not with us, but with someone that we partner with and recommend for this work. So my team does not do any one-to-one services. We are just an education-based company. However, because we've had so many people asking us who they can talk to that is informed on this, we have partnered with an amazing vendor. So you'll get all of that information when you buy our spreadsheet. So I hope that was a good overview. I hope that helped to determine maybe whether you qualify for this. Hopefully you're on your way or have already purchased the spreadsheet that's going to help you and potentially save money. If you've already bought this spreadsheet, I would love for you to give a review down below because that is super helpful for other people to see that it has been helpful to you. We have tons and tons of fantastic reviews for it as well and people that we have helped through this process. So rest assured, it is a great investment. And thank you for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.